here. Perfect.
It says we're live.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. This is Simone Davies.
And Jeanne-Marie Paynel, and this time we're both here together. We're not on our computers.
We're at the Congress in Prague. Oh, this is so weird. I'm so used to sitting at my little kitchen table to chat. So I'm curious if anyone is on the call. We'll see if anyone comes in. But anyway, we just wanted to share with you today. The International Montessori Congress is where Montessorians, there's 1,800 of us from all over the world who have come to Prague this year. It happens maybe once every 4 years for people to talk about the Montessori approach and get at all different levels. There's people who are trained 0 to 3 age group, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, people working with adolescents, people who are working with the age community, dementia patients. And yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's been amazing. I have been kind of blown away. My brain is just like overload. I was just in a session actually with working with extreme poverty and how Montessori has just merged and done some, amazing work. Earlier today was birth to 3 and this morning. So I have one question. There are 7 of you watching live. Could you please be honest and tell us how the sound is? Because we were having little technical difficulties. So can you hear us?
And then also drop in the chat box where you're calling in from so we can see who's on the call.
Yes.
I'm going to also duck down and grab my pen out of my bag so I can take notes.
Okay. So yes, we kind of moved around things here. We're by a window. Some of the sessions are getting out, so it might get a little loud with people chatting about what they've just learned and so forth. And in a little while, I hope to be able to walk around also and maybe show you some of the people that are upstairs that are exhibiting. Tomorrow there will actually be a family, what they're calling a family market, open to the parents here in Prague. I will actually be speaking tomorrow afternoon to them. So it's going to be kind of fun having a translator translating in Czech so that I can communicate with all these lovely parents that are coming.
About one of your favorite topics?
One of my favorite topics, which is the beautiful merge between...
You want to come on?
Hey, look, we have a guest here. This is Zara from Monty Kids. You've probably heard both Simone and I talk about Monty Kids.
Yes, my 2 favorite bloggers.
So Zara, we're live.
Oh, great.
And so if you want to share a little bit about who you are and what you've been doing with Monty Kids, because this has been going on for quite some years.
It has. It's been a long journey. I'm Montessori trained from birth to age 6. And I was teaching in schools when I had my baby about 5 years ago. And I was trying to do Montessori with him at home because the school where I was, it didn't start until age 3. And I found it was really difficult to do Montessori at home, to make all the mobiles by hand and look for the best materials and to keep up with development. Every few weeks they're changing at that point.
Yes,
So we started Monty Kids. We manufacture all the materials you need from birth right up until age 3, and we have videos that show parents how to use everything, how to set up the play area, which these 2 women do a wonderful job of on their blogs. And that's
so where can we learn more about Monty Kids and how maybe I know international shipping isn't quite to par just yet,
yes,
but we're working
on it.
So maybe our US viewers, if they can, that they have
small
children.
Yes, if you go to our website, which is montykids.com, montikids.com, you'll find more about our program. And we are shipping all over the US. It's free shipping. And we are working on international shipping. We have a lot of families ordering in creative ways to friends in the US through third-party shippers. So if you're interested, contact us. We'll put you on our international list. If you have any questions, just reach out to us. Our email is hello@montykids.com.
Yes, wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for the
It was
guest
great.
spot.
All right.
Hi, ladies.
So that's super fun. And we've had lots of people jump onto the call, and we've got Eri from Japan and Tanya from South Africa, and also Bhavesh from New Jersey, and there was one up higher which I have to scroll
Oh,
up to,
and
which is
Tanya.
Rini
I know
from
Tanya.
Singapore.
Tanya from South Africa.
Okay,
Hello.
before we start gasbanging, let's actually give these people something they can learn about. We had some questions come in already from people, so I'm going to jump straight into those so we don't forget, because we're getting too excited.
We had some questions. I think one of the first ones that came in was about training, about if you were wanting to really be a Montessori guide and kind of the training.
So I'll read it out. It's from Elizabeth, and she says, thanks, I'm really looking forward to this talk. Oh, she says she loves the website and videos. Thank you. Okay, I've been a primary school teacher for 14 years, and I've only recently discovered Montessori. It's a revelation. I don't think I can carry on teaching as I've been. I would love to train in Montessori. I have 3 young children, so a full-time training course isn't possible at the moment. Would you recommend any online or partially online course? I live in Dublin in Ireland. So I think that first we should just discuss what Montessori training is available in person and online in our own experiences, and then we can get on to what options you might be able to deal with.
So just on a personal note, I did the in-person training both for primary, so that was a whole academic year, so it was about a 10-month, and I had 2 young children at the time, so a 8-year-old and 4-year-old at the time. But it was in my city, so it did make it easy. I quit my full-time job and I just went to school all day, every day, and it is a lot of work in the evening. Then I did my 0 to 3 with the 2 summer programs. You can do it so that it's really about a 2-month, maybe a little bit less every summer for 2 consecutive summers, and then you do have some work to do during the year. So for me, if family arrangements can be made, I think that is a wonderful way to be able to do the training. It takes just a little bit longer because it's 2 summers. I know the primary is 3 summers because there's just a lot more content. And then the elementary level, I don't know. So that's the training that I did, was in person. AMI for me is kind of the top of the top, and it's the authentic. It's what Dr. Montessori started herself, and so forth. That being said, I know that there are different online one, and actually I was just speaking to a woman from Spain today who was telling me about one that is online, and I promise I will put these links maybe in the replay email that we send out, because I don't have all the information, but it's International Montessori something, and it's AMI trainers and Opera Montessori in Italy that did this, and it's online and in person. Careful, you're wiggling.
Oh, I'm writing notes and wiggling the tail. Okay, we're practicing and learning at the same time.
And so it is mostly online, but then you do have some in-person training because, that being said, I think that any training that you look into, there needs to be the in-person component, no matter what. There needs to be time that you are observing, living children that are in front of you and so forth. And that you have time to practice with the material, that you hold it in your hands, that you practice it, and so forth. So I know Simone had some other suggestions as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, personally as well, I did the AMI, which is the Association Montessori International training in Sydney when they came, and they only come it's hard to catch the training in your area, so I understand that, and it's also expensive, so financially it can be difficult, but it's totally worth it because I really feel like by the end of the program, you have to write up these albums that are so detailed. You get out like folders full of all the work that you've produced, and they're checked by trainers to make sure that the quality of the information is maintained so that it was integrated. I moved to the Netherlands soon after I finished my training, but I never needed to refer back to my albums which were in storage because I had integrated all the information. And then I have had experience where I've had people who have been training from some online programs, and when you ask them what a sensitive period was, they really didn't understand it because it's very different to read it from a screen then to be involved in a conversation in the classroom, if that's possible. So I do respect that people have got young children and they want to get started. And I think then, well, I'm not going to say don't do anything until you can get the AMI training. Find out as much, read lots of books, original are very inspiring, and that kind of thing as well. But given that, I also have met many Montessori teachers online who are also beautifully trained, and they have done some online training. So I've got some names for you, and I'll also include them in the show notes, which is the Montessori Educational Programs International, which is based in the USA, have some European locations as well. So that might be one to look into. St. Nicholas is a well-respected establishment in Ireland, so I'm not sure, that might be a good one for Elizabeth. They have full-time, part-time courses with some modules available online. AGMS online, and Tim Selden, who wrote that book, How to Raise an Amazing Child the Montessori Way, he set up this online training. So I had not heard of it, but they do have heard good things about it. And the MCI is based in the UK with some distance learning options. So there was a teacher who I heard about this from, and she was able to move to 6 different countries, and it was recognized in all those countries. So that also is something to think about. One thing I always say about the training is it's worth popping into, particularly if you're planning to work in Montessori, not just use it with your kids, is to go to a local Montessori school and say, what training do you accept here? Because for me in Australia, when I was training there, they're really sticklers for AMI training. You wouldn't have got a job if you'd done an online course. So if it was going to be something for your profession, you'd really want to do that. And the other thing to keep in mind is that you often also maybe in your local area may need an early childhood certificate along with the Montessori diploma. So keep in mind that it's quite a bit of study, but it's always worth it.
It's completely worth it. And especially, I know you said you were in Ireland. I know Dublin used to have a training center. So it's a matter of also saying, hey, we need, a trainer to come. Trainers do travel and come to different centers. And the thought of the 3 young children, I know it seems like daunting, but let it be possible. It is possible. It is about, getting your community to help you in this endeavor and this goal to do this training, and it's totally worth it. So just
also the other thing to say is that it is quite a lot of work.
It is.
But it's not brain science, it's just work, and you can process it, and you have a lot of support from people, and it's better not to know how much you're getting into anyway. It's like having a baby, really, isn't it? Because you will work it out. It's another type of baby. It's probably easier to give birth to.
Yes, yes. And when Simone mentions the albums in the AMI training, you are actually and you are writing in your own words all of the content that you are soaking in. So it really makes it that it becomes yours, and you really, it does become in your DNA. And just, I remember for my training, it was, the first one was about 10 years ago, a little bit more. We had to handwrite everything, and then I would go home and type everything up. No computers were allowed in the lectures. I think all of that has changed. But it just helped me really process it and relearn it, and it was beautiful. And those albums become basically your Montessori textbooks for the rest of your career, because you're always referring back to them. If you forget how to present something, you go back to your own albums with your own drawings, your own notes and everything. So
that's really interesting.
Really
my trainer did prefer us if we handwrote the notes, because I know myself, if I handwrite a shopping list and I forget my shopping list on the table, I can mostly remember what's on my list. But if I have it in my phone, I don't know anything.
True.
So it's really through the hand, like we talk about with children. If you learn through your hands, then you integrate it.
Yes.
So what's the quote from Montessori about don't give something to the brain before you give it to the hand? We'll have to look it up exactly.
Yes. No, but it's true. I mean, to me, it was just, that whole process was fascinating, and I think it made it that we learn all of that. So, that would be a pro and con with the kind of the online, where you wouldn't be getting that unless, you were studious to kind of rewrite things in your own words and such. So something to keep in mind, definitely.
I also want to mention some of the things that you do during a Montessori training, at least the AMI course that we did. So you have lectures, which is getting a lot of information, and the information goes to the output, but that's only one part of it. We also have practical practice with people from Montessori schools bring their shelves and set up classrooms for you to practice in, or some training centers have their own dedicated classrooms as well. And for a large part of the afternoons, we were practicing with the materials and we're doing presentations. And it means that when you're in the classroom with real toddlers, it's getting pretty rowdy here, these Montessorians, they really know how to party. Then you actually are practicing hands-on, and what you're presenting to a child who is another student, and you keep practicing and practicing. At first it feels really awkward, but you do it so many times that when you have to sit the exam, it just feels very natural. You're just, this is what it's going to be like to have a toddler come up to me. Well, that was for my age group. That's awesome. And then you also make a lot of materials as well. So I still have in my classroom, all these years later, the glue box that we had to build. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's really showing you how much care you put into making materials. It seems like, well, you could just buy a glue box, but it's so different when you've put your love into making all of the glue joints and things yourself. And we made Pittinos, and we made these beautiful full length, like probably as big as this screen behind us, timelines from in utero and the 0 to 3 period of what the motoric movement they're going to be having, and what other things are on that timeline? Language.
The psychomotor development timeline, which is, and the hand and all of that, which actually there is a copy of it on my website for download. That is just beautiful, because again, this is something that you're going to use forever, because it's really birth to 3 and reminding us of what the child is capable of. So really wonderful. I hope that answered the questions about the training.
I've got one more.
I know. Another training one?
Another question. No.
Okay. Another question. That's good.
Okay, I'm just typing to him saying great that you made it.
and then you can please, if you do have some questions, you can put them live, because we are seeing the chat right here. So let us know.
Okay, so this question is from Hiba, and she is enjoying our channel. She's finding it very enlightening and very appreciative of us and our insights. How fun. So she said she's very heartfelt to peace education, and I was wondering if both of you could help me out here with some tools to give to the parents. So this is a teacher. How can I help my child keep his calm, peaceful personality facing the increasingly violent world around him? Most parents would give in easily and encourage their children to threaten or even get into physical encounters to stop a disrespectful behavior. They're protecting them in a way against being violated, but that is against Montessori and is giving children a confused message. Be a bully or be bullied, rather than you be peaceful, resilient, open-minded, and problem solver to change the world into a better place to live. Appreciate your insights on the matter. And I mean, it's a beautiful question. Really, really beautiful question. Because as Montessori teachers, we want to pass on this message of peace through the children. And Dr. Montessori always said that the peace in the world will come through children. You know, you see them when they're born, they are pure.
They're peaceful. They're peaceful. They come to us peaceful, divine little beings.
And we have to look very deep. But naturally, we're also peaceful, and it will come up to the surface. So what this Eva is asking is, how can she then help with the parents to instead of saying to their child, well, if they pick on you, then just pick on them back, you know, stand up for yourself like that. You can be assertive, but in a very peaceful way as well. Would you like to speak to it? Or?
It's amazing, because we talked a lot about this, some of the keynote speakers this morning, about, about peace and how this all comes through us to the children. So for me, it always comes back to us and us modeling this peaceful attitude. And I do believe that if, somebody speaks to you poorly or whatever, it is up to you to look inward and just know that that person is maybe having a bad day, or, to not take it personally. But for a young child, to me, I would prefer giving them the suggestion of walking away. If this is not a positive place for them to be is that they have control of how they're going to feel and how they are going to react. And that I would prefer that a child walk away, and yes, they might be treated, wimp or whatever, but hey, that is to me more courageous than to fight back and use violence. So that's kind of my personal thing.
I have a nice counter difference, or it depends on the situation. Yes. I think if you're so emotional that you can't react calmly, then walk away until you can. But I really believe in empowering children and giving them skills. Yes. And so I would then model the behavior. Oh, did you want to say this? And try and help them with their words so that they can say, oh, stop, I don't like that. Or if it's that the child snatches the toy out of their hand, that they can also stand up for themselves. So that instead of feeling like they don't have any empowerment or, that it's then being very respectful. But that also means we're also always modeling it. So if you're arguing or speaking to your partner in a way that you wouldn't speak to your child, so often we can have enormous empathy for our child and say, oh, are you feeling this? And then our partner says something else and we say, don't talk to them like that. So you end up undoing your good work in a way because they actually see how you speak more aggressively. Some people wouldn't call that violent because they're just speaking, but there's different ways that you can disagree with your partner, or you can even support them saying, oh, it sounds like your mother would like you to take your plate to the kitchen and you really don't feel like doing it right now. So in a way you're mediating between the parent and the child in a very respectful way. You can honor both of their feelings without having to criticize either of them. So I think one is teach skills, and the second thing would be to model and model and model. And because it's not do as I say, but say as I do. Is that right? Have I got that wrong?
It's modeling. It's not the do as I say, but do as I do.
Do as I do.
So it's really about, and actually one of the speakers, Elisa, was sharing with us about also kind of modeling. So if you are in the classroom, also modeling how you're speaking with the other adults in the school and such. If somebody speaks to you poorly, you can definitely model, like Simone says, of I don't really appreciate the way I'm being talked to. Are you trying to tell me this? And you were sharing something that was very interesting too yesterday with me about nonviolent communication.
Yeah. Nonviolent communication.
This would be very helpful.
Okay. So I am always looking for extra tools that I feel complement the Montessori approach. So Dr. Montessori never mentioned nonviolent communication in her writings, but I feel like it really complements well. And it's just another layer on top. So people always talk to Montessori about how respectful we are with children. And sometimes it's really hard to get examples of that in our daily life because it hasn't been practiced on us. And so we have to basically learn a new language. Right. So in the last few years, I followed some nonviolent communication courses, and it's sometimes shortened to NVC. And nonviolence is a really interesting concept. It's based on the Gandhi principles of nonviolence, so that if you shout at someone, that's violent. So, just take maybe gentle communication or however you want to call it. But basically, the first thing you have to do is empathy. So empathy for yourself sometimes, because sometimes you can't give empathy to your child or to your partner if you're wound up. So it's first actually saying, I need to step away. I need to process what's going on in myself and allow that first. And then I'll come back and be able to give you empathy. But also this, it helps them acknowledge the need behind feelings. So if someone's wound up, it's usually because an underlying need's not being met. Like you don't feel that you're being appreciated. Appreciation's a really big need. So if you feel like you're working really hard and your partner's not supporting you, then you really say, I'm really needing appreciation right now. Or I remember one example, I don't know if this is useful because it's not to do with children at all, but I had to role play in the session about being someone's girlfriend, and the boyfriend wanted to go to the party and the girlfriend wanted to stay home and chill out. So you can kind of see this is a conflict. So there's two different people. Neither of them are wrong. It's just like I feel like this and you feel like that. So I always say that there's no one that's wrong. Even someone who is thinking really things you totally disagree with, they really believe that to be true, right? So it gives us compassion when we recognize that. But also, how can you have your needs met, which is like that you want to go out and connect with other people, and I really want to stay at home, and I still want to connect with you. I really want to give you that connection that we go together, but I want to rest because I really need to wind down from my week and process it. So then in this role play situation, we worked out that he was going to go to the party and that I was going to stay home, but we would meet for breakfast the next day and have our connection time then. And it was like, actually, this potential to be a conflict actually made us closer in a role play situation.
But probably in reality too, because both your needs are being met.
Yeah.
So very good.
And I think that what I learned from this and how I now work with families with it is it's like our kids have needs. And so sometimes we put our own needs on hold so that these kids are met. Sometimes that means that we then step over our limits because we're thinking, we need to give them freedom of movement, and so I'm going to let them do everything. But actually, it drives us crazy that they've smeared dirt all over the wall. Like, that's too far for me. So it's better for us to recognize, actually, I know I really want you to have freedom, and we're going to have to do that somewhere else so that I can also maintain a certain level in our house that's not, I don't want to live in a dump either. Totally. Something like this. We're going on a holiday, and your dad really wants to go and see the castle. You really want to go to the playground, and I really want to make sure that I get time to check out the bookshop. So how can we all have our needs met? And actually, when you recognize that, instead of all feeling grumpy because you didn't get your needs met, and it comes from a very different place. It's not like, then we'll go to the castle, and if you're good, we'll go to the playground. It's not presented like that. It's like, this is how we all live together. So I'm going to go with you to the playground while Dad goes to the castle, and then actually Dad's going to meet us at the playground. I might just pop to the bookshop, and then the kid just gets to play at the playground, and everyone had their needs met. I don't know. That's just. And the other thing is there's really. There's hundreds of possibilities to solve problems. So sometimes we attach to one possibility. For example, it drives me crazy that they don't wash up after dinner. That's one solution, is to wash up after dinner. But actually, you have a choice in that. You say, no, you don't. You have to wash up. Well, you could, for example, buy disposable plates and throw them away every time. You could order takeaway and just use the containers. You could get someone to cook your meals and wash up for you. But then you decide, well, actually, something that's important to me is nutrition for my children, to save the environment, so I'm going to reuse my plates. And when you come from this place, it actually feels much more peaceful. This is my choice to give that kind of meal and nutrition and, meal time for my family. I don't want to have a TV dinner sitting on my lap. And then you actually don't start minding washing up. Okay, so that was a brief thing. Maybe if you're interested, let me know, and we can do maybe some more on my communication.
I think that would be a great topic. Sequence. Yeah. Because
it's really good for couples as well as working with your child. Yeah. You get so many levels you can work on. You're really itching to go and walk around the conference.
No. I was just wondering, we're just seeing this beautiful view, and I can't share it with you. So I was thinking of trying to take my phone, but I'm not seeing it there. And so I don't know.
Oh, you're maybe just watching, are you?
No, because I'm on the Google Hangout. So let me walk away for a second, would you let us know if you see a view of Prague in about 30 seconds?
Section,
This is it, but I don't know.
I'll just make it bigger. Yeah. I think that you can see. Yeah, we can see you. I think it's going to come up. Let's have a look. I can see a window on the screen. I'm hoping that you can see it. So Jeanne-Marie's walked away. I click. And they're seeing it. So you can talk, Jeanne-Marie. So anyway, we're showing you the view out the window. Can you see the castles off in the distance? I'm not sure if Jeanne-Marie can talk. I think she's muted. I don't think so. I'm going to unmute you.
There, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. This is cool.
Oh,
okay,
perfect. Okay. So I think I'm going to have to step away, though, so that the sound is not so terrible. So you see those white tents? They are setting up a glass classroom for tomorrow, where we will actually be seeing children in action. So I'm going to walk upstairs. I'm going to not show you anything for right now, and I'm going to walk upstairs. You need to put on your thing, because it was making weird.
A great idea. I'm going to put my headphones in so that I don't echo. Okay, so unfortunately, Jeanne-Marie's gone a bit black now. I'm not sure what she's showing you. Maybe she's going up the escalator. This is all live. Wow, beautiful view, says Haytel. Yes, beautiful clouds as well. Yes, I'm glad you're following. And were you able to get on? Who was having trouble hearing us before? I'm hoping you worked out your sound. I wish I could be there at the conference. I know it's been an amazing vibe,
Okay,
and we've met
I'm
like
back
lots
on.
of people.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jeanne-Marie's live. Okay. Oh, you've gone muted. Can you hear me, Jeanne-Marie? You've muted yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see me walking around upstairs?
It's very black.
American.
What's happened? Are you in the dark? There it is.
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's the American Society's booth.
American Montessori Society.
Mm-hmm.
They are kind of wrapping up because this is the end of the day, but we have Montessori material that is here.
That beautiful, actually. The Gonzo Goretti material is amazing. When you touch it, just the quality is incredible. So you do see, like, that's what the children are absorbing, is this very beautifully made, very carefully made material. And children don't want to throw this material if it's so carefully made.
Yes, always beautiful material. What is wonderful here too is that you recognize people. This is a gigantic pink tower. You see, I'm standing
Yeah, that's
next
so
to
cool.
it. So not at all what you would have in the classroom, but
it's fun for the adults to play with.
Yes, and this is Neem House booth with a lot of beautiful material. Again, some of our toddler material.
They're so tiny, those little chairs. You see them out of context of the classroom,
Yes.
you realize how small they are.
Another large tower. Let me walk over here. Oh, wow. Sorry, people. People are saying this is Monty Kids. We had Zara come up earlier, and this is some of the material that they have.
Oh yeah, show us some of the material.
So, for example, there is this one that is just, can you see me? I'm not, oh.
I can't see you, but I can see, oh yeah, I see you putting the rings on. Yeah.
Whoops.
What's also really beautiful is they've had a Montessori consultant work with them, so that all the materials are very beautifully made and in, you know, true Montessori.
I'm not seeing where my hands are.
At the moment we're looking, that's it.
There. And it's just, I've had the pleasure of unpacking 2 of their boxes for a home environment I set up for a school. And it's just really beautiful. I mean, look at this goby that is created. It's just, all the details are just gorgeous on this.
So those people who don't know the goby, it's one of the visual mobiles that we use for young babies before they start grasping. So you start with black and white, and then you move to primary colors, and eventually you move to gradation of color, which is the goby. Okay, AMI stand.
AMI stand. And I was very sad. They just came out with a new publication of Montessori's writing, speaking to parents. And when I came to buy it earlier this morning, they had already sold out. The table is empty. So that
Jeanne-Marie, I bought a copy.
Oh,
I bought a copy this afternoon.
Good.
I'll show you it, but maybe they got some more.
Oh, maybe they did.
Okay.
And then, so we are kind of late, so I'm going to walk over here, but there's some people that have already packed up and left. Maybe we can do another little live tomorrow. This is Higher Grounds, which is a new company out of the US that is helping people that are wanting to set up Montessori schools, actually all over the world. They help you find investment and set up and everything. This is Topic Educational, some more material. And over here, there was some interesting material that's actually furniture that is made here in Czechoslovakia. And it's actually a toddler furniture that is adaptable. So really your very first weaning chair that then all the way to 5 years where it's just one chair. Kind of, it's interesting because it's kind of the concept of the trip trap chair that I always recommend, but this is smaller furniture, so the table and the chairs adapt. And she also has some beautiful mobiles. She has the
It's called
Munari.
Mini. Can you show us the name of the company so they can check it out?
Yes.
Minimo?
Actually, the owner of the company is right here if she wants to say hello. Hello. And your name? Can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Yeah, we are Czech company
Oh.
from Czech
No,
Republic.
you need this.
Ah, okay. So,
Sorry.
okay. Now it works. Okay. So we are a company from Czech Republic, and we started growing furniture right this year. And so we are in the beginning, and our furniture is growing. It has 4 positions. It's for toddlers from 6 months until approximately 5 or 6 years.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We put her on the spot then.
It's a show. It's a Montessori show that we do. Yeah. I just, poor woman, I just surprised her. She did not know.
There's lots of people.
And I was looking at these earlier. She also has all these very nice little mobiles that are geared by Montessori, different colors and such, that are really just lovely. So it's just been really nice to discover new products and such, and to meet people that are just really doing wonderful things. This is our lounge area and napping, as you can see, viewing, people congregating. So really very nice. And I think I'm just going to walk back down, but I'm going to show you a lovely view first before I do walk down.
Okay.
Because
it's so lovely that you guys can all enjoy this with us. There's 22 people at the moment watching live with us, and there's many more that will watch the recording after.
So this is the view that we have from the Congress. And you are very lucky because this morning it was pouring and we did not have this beautiful view. And so like I was saying, tomorrow we will have, you see those white tents? We will have what we call the glass classroom, which was actually when Montessori came to San Francisco, they had done a glass classroom to present Montessori to the US. And it was just wonderful because people could see the children working. And the last Congress that was in Portland, they did a similar classroom, and it's just wonderful to have all of the different levels there. And I'm here again in another booth. This is Leader Joy Montessori with some very nice infant material and toddler material and such. One of my favorite infant, which is the Takane ball, also called the puzzle ball, which is wonderful. So here you go.
Okay, well, how about, yeah, you got more shows?
No, just jewelry. Look at this.
So some of you who know, these are knuckle beads, yeah, and little pink towers.
Okay,
very fun. So for those of you who are on the call, today's the second day. Yes, exactly, Hetal, that's right. To give you guys an impression, this is like one part of the conference, which is where the exhibitors come and show us around. I'll just make myself big again. Can I do that? Yeah. So that was the exhibition hall where there's lots of exhibitors. So there's people like the training organizations have stands, as well as some of the suppliers of Montessori materials. Which is really, really nice. And then what we have each day, it's a 4-day conference. Yesterday was the opening, and we started at lunchtime with Keynotes. And so Keynotes is where everyone meets in the big, we're at the convention center. So we have luxury big seats, 1,800 reps from, I think, 71 countries. I might be wrong. And
I'll be back.
They're all there. Okay, Jeanne-Marie's going to be back. She's on her way. So there's people from all around the world meeting, and you have very inspiring speakers. So yesterday we opened with, I'll get my notes out so I can get you exactly the program that we've had so far. The director of the training center here opened with the opening ceremony, and it was very inspiring to hear that in Prague itself, they only started in 2010 with Montessori training, and in 7 years, they've run 7 courses at all different levels. So you can see that these young children in Prague are benefiting from Montessori very quickly. And it's really the true, beautiful Montessori. So I can't wait to go on Monday to visit one of the Montessori schools. So maybe I'll be able to share some photos from that if I'm allowed to take photos. Hiba, you're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. She said, thank you for answering my question. Wow, so excited to see you inside the conference. Oh, cool. And Neven's also joining us. Hello from Indiana. You're welcome. Amazing. Yeah, cool. So we have the keynote speakers. As after them came the Minister of Education. There's a really amazing relationship that Prague has with all of the Montessori trainings being recognized. So like I said before, sometimes you need an early childhood to run to work with children. But here in Prague, the Montessori diploma is going to be enough to work with the kids, which is amazing. Then Philippa Bryan and Lynn Lawrence spoke from the Association Montessori International. It's always super inspiring. But then they had people from the Adolescents program come and join us. So this time they've got an adolescent program going on at the same time as the Congress. And they basically had 6 mini conferences around the world. And they're now putting all that work together to make some really beautiful work. And what was the quote that you tweeted yesterday?
It was one of the adolescents. There were 3 adolescents from the Philippines that spoke to us. And really it was a call to what their ambition was about sustainable environment and so forth. But he said, the Earth's population is 50% adolescent, but 100% the future. And to me, that was just, I got chills because I also have an adolescent, but it's just so true. And they were just beautiful group, and they all had the flags. There are 71 countries represented here at the Congress. And it was just really very inspiring. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. So after the adolescents came Carla Foster, and she's a Montessori trainer for elementary, which is from 6 to 12-year-olds. And so I learned a lot because it's a plane that my children have been through, but I haven't had a lot of experience working in that classroom. And so she was talking about leadership skills for children and how you go from being bossy, which can be also a very common thing for a 6 to 12-year-old, and moving that into a leadership way. And she talked about pillars of love, work, and justice, and how that overlays with goodness. Help me here.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, here I have it. Goodness, being strict, and being kind. So if you're a leader, you need to be kind, and you need to have values that people respect. But sometimes you also need to have that, this is the limit as well, and setting that limit with love. So yeah, these children from 6 to 12 are already learning those skills. Then we moved on to the second keynote, which was about the research that's going on about Montessori programs. And so Angelina Lillard, who's written The Science Behind the Genius, which is going to have a new edition coming out with 2 new chapters.
With new research too that she's
literally it's meant to come out while we're here, so we'll see if it arrives.
And this is just an anecdote, but she is the daughter of
Paula Polk Lillard,
who wrote Montessori from the Start. And she had 5 daughters, 3 of which are Montessorians and are, really advocates of Montessori. And this is one of them who does research and writes these books. So it was pretty, it was
one of the jokes made was like, if we all had 5 children and 3 of them became Montessorians, we would spread our word faster. But in the meantime, we'll just stream from the conference and help you guys as well. And we think that's fun. So we won't get into all of the results of the research, but there's some really interesting research going on about how Montessori classrooms can improve kids' executive functioning. They talked about Montessori classrooms being an equalizer, so that low-income families also were receiving results from the Montessori kids being in the classroom, which is very unique because normally it's so income-based. If you have a higher income, it's just scientifically proven that your children will have better outcomes. And this program is an equalizer because low-income families were being equally affected and improved on executive function, social skills, and many other measures that they did as well. So that was super fun. Then there's been some panel discussions and things like this. And then last night was really fun. We were all super tired, but they had a preview screening of the building of the Pink Tower, which we weren't allowed to take any videos of or anything because it's all pre-release. It's going to be finalized hopefully by the end of 2019. 2017.
And they said that the title will probably change, but it was beautiful because they've set it up in different stories, so different schools.
It's a film, basically, a
It's a
feature-length
documentary about Montessori and how it changed lives, and how and so there were different projects. One of which is this beautiful project that's called that is run by the Lumen Schools in Dallas, Texas, in the U.S. And they start from in the home. They actually come and do home visits and teach the parents how to work with the children and everything, and just beautiful. And this is publicly funded and such. So it was just very hopeful and just very inspiring about where Montessori is going, and that was really beautiful.
Yeah. And what will be great is that film will be available for people, like for schools to have to show to participating parents. So you'll see the power of Montessori. It will be also for people who are interested in doing Montessori training, and we'll give you an insight into how it works at the different age groups, because there's one part of the film where, again, the adolescents are talking about what they're so articulate in why they so enjoy this school. It covers racial interests as well. Anyway, it's going to be great. Yes. We'll let you know then that's about. Today's keynotes were by the Rayo Institute, which was all about how we can take the stress out of our lives, and what was the tagline? Eliminate stress and craft a perfect life. And I think it's a lot of what the Montessori teachers already incorporate, but I think I was taking notes like crazy, because I think for parents it will be really practical on how you can stay happy, basically, how you can control the story that you tell in your head. Or he had so many really little short stories that were very articulate. And one
that stuck to me was this notion that we're all goal driven, and that we're all told to have goals and such. And he was saying that it's good to have a goal, but put it out there and then let it go, and then work on the actions and the activities, and focus all of your emotional energy on the activities that are actually going to get you there. But don't be so obsessed with the actual goal itself. Like, it's great to state it, but then let it go.
And then what's really fascinating is you enjoy the process, and then more often than not, you reach the goal in an enjoyable way, and sometimes exceed your goal.
Yes.
So, and it actually just reminds me of a toddler. They aren't working to make clean dishes. They're working on the process, not the product.
And which he actually said, which was about invest in the process, not the outcome. Yeah. Which was so Montessori of him.
And he's not actually a Montessorian at all.
He trains, I think, corporations and business people, so it was pretty fast. It was cool.
Do you want to tell about the second keynote, which was Irena?
Oh, that was intense. That was intense. Irene Fafalios, and she talked about the cycle of violence. I mean, it was kind of heavy, but at the same time, there was, for me at least, there was this great hope about how we, the adults, can break that cycle. So even if we experienced violence or neglect in our own childhood.
And violence doesn't have to be physical violence. It can be like being ignored, or even just being shouted at or slapped in many cases.
Right. I mean, it's very, whole slew, and there was actually a question at the end about, drugging our children that is a problem, and is that a violence, and so forth. But anyway, it was about just breaking that cycle. And it's not because we experienced it as children that we have to reenact it on our children, and that our children really need to be protected, and that there is a lot of inner work to do on ourselves as adults. And I think, that is coming out more and more. I know, I've talked about the work of Dr. Shefali, for example, who talks a lot about the conscious parent, and how we need to do work on our own childhood so that we can be really there for our children as clean and pure that we can be for them.
Yeah. So. There's a great comment that's come through the live chat. She lives in Dallas, and her daughter's just been accepted in the Montessori school that's part of the public school district, and in the same neighborhood as in the Lumen schools, which is what you were referring to earlier.
Yes, that I visited, that are wonderful. Yeah.
She's totally blind, and she was thrilled that the school finally recognized that Montessori is the perfect environment for her to learn, much as Dr. Montessori originally intended it for it to be.
Wonderful.
So that's very cool.
That's wonderful.
I actually didn't find the keynote so depressing. I
It
found
was just the
it's
beginning
heavy.
was heavy.
It's heavy because she basically says there's a responsibility on the adult, and you think, that's really, really scary. But actually, I think that it's a powerful message just to keep us showing up every day as our best selves. We can't be perfect. We will apologize for that and show them that failure is also okay. We make mistakes and we just keep picking ourselves up and learning, because you can be gracious in mistakes or you can be angry and miserable. And that just keeps reminding us to be on the other side.
Yes.
And that just makes me want to work harder with you guys as parents and on me as myself to keep vibe going and passing on to our children and onto you guys to give you the tools that you might need to heal and accept these children and start to see things from their perspective, that it's not a fight, but like, moving from getting angry with our kids and feeling triggered by them to like, how can I support you right now? But you can only get to that place of how can I support you right now if you're quite solid yourself.
Exactly.
So we're in a very privileged position. We don't have to worry about, like they said today, where the roof is over our head, or that we might have lunch later or something like this.
Right.
It's so we can do a lot of that work on ourselves. But I think it's actually a privilege and it's inspiring. So I decided to take that message away as a positive one.
Definitely. No, it definitely was a positive. It's just the like you say, it was that responsibility at the beginning that was like, whoa, it is heavy, but it is heavy, and that's okay. We're up for the challenge.
We've got a nice comment here. You've both been such an encouragement to me on my parenting journey. Thank you. Namaste. Very cool. So we also had an amazing talk.
So this is actually a dear friend and somebody that I've known for a while, who's actually a guide in a 0 to 3 community in Ohio, Lisa Coughlin-Moore, and she spoke to us about exploring Parker Palmer's 5 Habits of the Heart and to enliven our role as Montessorians. And I didn't know about Parker Palmer, but he is a professor of sociology at UC Berkeley, I do believe. And she had a beautiful way, and it was very kind of spiritual about, what it is to be in contact with our heart or our soul or whatever we want to call it. But these 5 habits that he describes, she then gave us kind of the daily practical habits that she has created in her community of young children. This is a young children's community, so they're 1-year-olds until 3-year-olds, and just how we need to model all of that. And it was really beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun. So let's say, for example, the habit of valuing otherness of people.
Yes. And
that was really actually, I wrote a blog post recently about how we're more alike than we're different. Mm-hmm. So I live in a different country from Jeanne-Marie. I was...
and look at us.
Yeah. I was born on a different continent where I actually are standing in the same room. But, we actually are more alike than we're different. To someone who's living on the street, I also am more alike than I'm different. I'm human, and it comes back to our humanness. So how do we then talk about that in our classrooms with toddlers? And you can kind of talk about other people in your community and how they're all helping each other, and how that person. Yeah, let me have a look at my notes to get some of the actual examples.
Give and receive welcome. Be present as fully as possible. What is offered in the circle is by invitation, not demand. Speak your truth in ways that respect others' people's truth. No fixing, saving, advising, or correcting. Love that one. Learn to respond to others with honest, open questions. When the going gets rough, turn to wonder. Attend to your own inner teacher. Very important. Trust and learn from the silence. Observe deep confidentiality. Know that it's possible.
Yeah, there was one really good example she gave about the otherness as well, which is looking for examples of otherness in books or in replicas that your children are playing with. And it's difficult, but you can find them, because family means many different things these days. Mm-hmm. So to represent that and bring it into a normal conversation or a normal place, because in that absorbent mind, unconscious absorbent mind, particularly for that 0 to 3 age group, what they see around them in their daily life is what they take as normal and makes them create their person.
Yes.
So it's super exciting. I have no idea what the time is. Oh my gosh, we've just been talking for an hour.
And then I went to one session Simone had it by then, so she went and rested. She almost missed the beginning of the show because she was napping.
I was not napping. I was talking to Alyssa who did that talk, and I literally went, I lost track of time. It's too many interesting people to talk
I
to.
went and listened to the Patricia Spinelli, who is the AMI trainer 0 to 6 here in France, in Paris. And they had done a project with an association that takes care of very impoverished neighborhood, and so that was beautiful. And to me, it always inspiring to hear of these projects and just how the work of Dr. Montessori that really did start in the slums of Rome is being, that we're continuing this work. That, unfortunately, I think Montessori does get sometimes a bad rap that it's now for kind of the elite, and there are so many projects, and there's, Éducateurs Sans Frontières that I know one day I hope to have a project to work with them. And these are all, projects, careful. They're all projects that are, wonderful for all sorts of communities. So just beautiful. I'm just inspired. I'm so happy.
And Estefania asked if we would make our notes available, and we could try. I'm trying to type mine up, but I'm not sure they're going to mean much to you without being there. But I'm also going to post on Instagram just one quote, one takeaway from each day. So the one I just posted was...
Oh, you just posted one today
I'm going to quickly look it
You
up.
have to follow us both on Instagram because
we have everything we need to make things better. So basically,
Yes.
Sometimes we can get very depressed by all the things that are going on in the world, but actually we have the resourcefulness, we have the tools, and we are creative, imaginative people, so we can also come up with the solutions to these problems.
Yeah.
And that was just really lovely to hear. We have everything we need to make things better. And this was just a snippet of like the
Yes.
inspiration you
Yes.
get. But
And Estefania, we'll look into it because I know that the organizers are making all of the slides available and such. So maybe, I think some of the bigger ones, they have all been filmed and everything. So maybe they will make those available to the general public for everybody who was not able to be here in Prague. So we'll let you know. I'll let you know what I find out about that for sure.
yeah, so make sure you're signed up for our newsletters so we can post it in there,
Yes.
perhaps if something like
Yes.
that becomes available. Tanya's posted, thank you so much, ladies, for broadcasting together live from Prague. I was
Yes.
hoping to attend this summer, so this was a real treat. Enjoy the rest of your time in Prague. It's such a beautiful place.
It is. It really is. We went on a breakfast and had a lovely walk yesterday morning before it started, and it's beautiful. And now I know why people just rave about Prague. I had never been here. Simone had already been here, so she got to show me around. But
Yeah,
I hope to go explore some more.
I was lucky enough to have a friend who married a Czech guy, so I got to sneak over here a few times to visit her. It was a good excuse, huh? Stefania says, wonderful, thank you so much. I think that we might wrap it up there and let you guys get back to mealtime if you're in Europe.
Or breakfast in the US.
And we're going to go and, oh yeah, I have to tell you, we've been invited to a dinner, so we'll see.
Great.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.